Hello and welcome back to That Guy's a Maniac, the podcast. You can catch Farley and myself, Richie, talking shite on our blog, as we have done for the past 15 years, on thatguys.co.uk. And here we are on episode 10, secretly 10, but it is 10, and we are going back to our roots, and we're talking about what we have been playing recently, because everybody cares. But before we go any further, Farley, who's our sponsor this week?
Hello, sexy. This week, our sponsor is the Federal Europe. Federal. Oh man, what have I told you about messing up that sponsor bit? We'll never get sponsors.
I'm sorry, but the hello sexy is just killing me, man.
I hadn't said anything for a while. Right. This week's sponsor is the Federal European Industrial Science and Research Group. Man, no, they're just called Federal European Industrial Science and Research. Makers of such wonderful anti-gravity products as racing teams in racing anti-gravity sports. Pfizer, our sponsor, Pfizer. Thank you, Pfizer.
Yes, and thank you, Farley, for that clean, crisp, and well-researched intro.
I know a lot of people ask if I've had formal training, but no, that's just innate talent, I think.
Yeah. You could take up to 3.
I could,
takes dedication.
Radio.
Absolutely. Okay, so, well, since we're talking about what we're playing...
Anyway, any more?
Yeah, but I'm stalling as I think. It's one of the wonderful things about having a radio voice. It's clear and it's nice and not annoying as mine, is that you can stammer and you can stutter as you think through the words you're going to say. But anyway,
no one will pick it up.
So, what have you been playing, Farley?
What have I been playing? Not the format of this show, but we'll go with it.
Oh, what are you playing?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Are you ready to give your merchant voice a go?
Oh, God. Right. Welcome, stranger. What are you playing?
That was actually really good.
I might have been practicing. A little bit.
Got some rare thing. Anyway, so what have I been playing? I have been playing Tomb Raider 2 specifically, and the reasons why are because I was reading Edge magazine, not the sponsor of this show.
Hang on. Tomb Raider 2 as in the PlayStation Tomb Raider 2?
The PlayStation Tomb Raider 2, yeah, on the PlayStation.
As in from like 1994 or whatever?
From
96.
Yeah. It's not the original version, it's the Ricochet re-release. You may remember that Eidos kind of had like its own platinum line.
Yes.
So, which was basically the same game, but just with a really shit box art with like a hazard and then the bottom in the middle. So that version of it.
Oh yeah.
Interesting to everybody. Yeah. And the reason for this is because I came across this project called the Dark Angel Symphony. So basically a bunch of fans put loads of effort into this crazy project to get the soundtracks for Tomb Raider 4, 5 and 6 kind of orchestrally recorded. And I was like, I've got a lot of time for the Tomb Raider series, and particularly the soundtracks. One thing led to another, and then I was like, I'm going to dig out the PlayStation. So I dug out the PlayStation. Sadly, a lot of my hardware just doesn't work. So, and I've looked after it quite well, but it's just failing completely. So after a while, I managed to set the PlayStation up. Annoyingly, I thought I don't know what's happened to it. Maybe I had 2 PlayStations at some point. But the one that I got from a friend, and it's like a second, I don't know, I don't know what generation of PlayStation it is. But do you remember on the original PlayStation, if you loaded it up with no disc in, you'd get that kind of crazy CD player.
Oh, no, I did not.
So you get this. It looks a bit like Minesweeper, the interface, and then you could put in an audio CD, and then you could choose to kind of play it.
Yes, no, I absolutely do remember that. Yeah.
With an echo. So I was like, so I listened to the PlayStation startup music, and then the one I've got, so a later release. It's all kind of 90s jazzy colours and doesn't have that wacky CD player where you could play your music so that it sounds like it's playing in a cave. Anyway, fired up Tomb Raider 2, and yeah, had a bit of a go. I remembered where the first secret was, and I was surprised actually how it took a second, but how the control system, I reckon it holds up actually quite well. So it's obviously pre-analog sticks. You kind of use your D-pad for the direction, and then your shoulder triggers are for sidestepping and
I don't think it was that bad. I mean, just to very quickly side note on some of the most horrible ones to pick up again is like, do you remember Shadows of the Empire on the N64? It's the worst control scheme in the world ever, where you're using that middle stick to move forward, but then you turn using the shoulder buttons, but you can't reach them and things like that. Awful. Anyway, sorry. You were saying control stand up.
So the controls stand up. The music was great. What was really funny is, I remember me and my brother would load up some games without a memory card in, or have specific saves so we could watch some of the FMV cutscenes. Oh, look at this! Looks amazing. We'd kind of save them up to show each other. But come and see this amazing cutscene, and it just looks so awful. Particularly the opening of Tomb Raider. There's this really ropey Tomb Raider 2. There's this really ropey kind of dragon. All their faces look like Thunderbirds characters. So yeah, that was great. I had a deep dive on Tomb Raider soundtracks. So I've just been listening to those pretty much exclusively, and then fell into a kind of a Tomb Raider hole on the internet because the kind of Tomb Raider community, as it is online, it seems divided. So you had the first 4 games, which were on the PlayStation, and kind of stuck with that grid-based, the kind of square grid-based system. So your standard forward jump went a certain number of squares, your roll would take you back a square, your run and jump would take you forward a square. Then I think after 4 there was the awful broken Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, which nearly killed the entire franchise. It was just, they just didn't have enough time. It was just glitchy, buggy, and then something that goes back and forth between the communities is this game just isn't Tomb Raider. And then I've had hands-on with, I think, all but the last 2 of the recent reboot trilogy, so Rise and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Angel's Darkness, do people like the soundtrack on it?
Well, yeah, this is this is actually why I ended up. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have bothered. I don't think I would have bothered looking into it at all. But I was like, the soundtrack for 4 was pretty banging, particularly the song that plays when you're in a jeep. I was like, 4's pretty unmemorable, but listening to some of the soundtracks, yeah, it's okay. And then 5's good as well. So yeah, big Tomb Raider hole. But it saddens me to see that the community is still divided between whether the new games are Tomb Raider-y or not. And it's kind of like an amorphous checklist of things, right? So some of the new ones didn't really have tombs in them. So having tombs seems to be a requirement.
Yeah, I think that's a good requirement to have. Although I would say not necessary.
No, so I think with the Tomb Raider, which is the first one of the last time they rebooted it.
It's just her job title, she can wear many hats.
But they were so the tombs were kind of side quests, and then there's the whole, because they keep rebooting a character. I think she's got like 3 origin stories depending on Chronicles, and then they've slightly tweaked it for Anniversary, and then they rebooted. Yeah, fine. It's good games. Glad that I could kind of boot it up again. And yeah, just nostalgia. A nice nostalgia for a kind of certain time and place. And when it was like the exciting hot release as well. I think Tomb Raider and Resident Evil were kind of doing very different things to a lot of the other just shit that was coming out on the PlayStation at the time.
Yeah. I mean, my interaction with the franchise goes as far as I owned Tomb Raider 1 and 2 for the PlayStation. I remember, I think I was mentioning this to you before, that I got as far as, I think, a room with dangling swords of Damocles, in Tomb Raider 1. And then I think a statue came to life, and I couldn't get past it, and then I just never bothered playing it ever again. And then I had Tomb Raider 2. I remember there being tigers in Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah, so the first level,
yeah,
you get airdrops to the Wall of China, and then there are a couple of tigers running around.
Yeah. I have no idea how far I got in it, but I mean, it was 96. If I remember correctly, I think all I was playing was Tekken 2 and Soul Blade at that time. So I think maybe it was just one of these PlayStation games I just didn't pay attention to that much. But what I'm more amazed about is the fact that a soundtrack dragged you back in. I mean, I've never really sort of. I mean, I quite often just play games without the sound on, or I'll turn the music off. I'm really surprised as to sort of the level that you're you're down for that sort of thing.
Yeah, we're very different in that respect. So there's been a couple of times where we've both had a game and we're like, oh man, that the soundtrack's banging on that. And I've not listened to it at all. And it's now, I want to say, it's now become more socially acceptable. But I remember the early days, where people were doing soundtrack rips, and it's really hard to find soundtracks. Nobody ever sold their soundtracks, and it's kind of weird to be into video game soundtrack or listen to them. I remember very early on the official Nintendo magazine podcast had an episode, and they were kind of all slagging off like, oh, who goes around just listening to video game soundtracks? Whereas now, it's it's hyperwank, right? If you're not releasing your indie game soundtrack on a limited edition square electric pink vinyl, you're
it's absolutely true. It's like on Steam, like even like the special editions of lots of games come with basically a folder of MP3s of the game music. It's quite cool how they include that. I mean, that being said, like I get it. There are certain video game theme tunes that just stick in your head, like the intro to Soul Blade again, and that is super banging. But like I again, it's just not an audiophile in that sort of fashion. I'm so glad I took up podcasting.
So and I remember it particularly. There's a main kind of Tomb Raider theme, which there are various riffs on. I think all the way up to 4. I don't know if it comes back in Anniversary. Yeah, it does. But then I think my mum actually got the limited edition to Tomb Raider Legend, which came with a separate CD, and that was a soundtrack I listened to a lot. It just had on repeat. There's not really a bad track amongst the whole thing. So now I've got hundreds more Tomb Raider tracks, including games I've not necessarily touched to listen to. But this project's fantastic. If you are interested at all, Tomb Raider: The Dark Angel, driven by a lot of kind of super fans, and if you've got money to burn, you can. I think the bog standard like 4 CD soundtrack and MP3 is like 30 odd quid, and it goes up to 300 quid for various vinyls and signatures and books and scripts and all this business. Amazing project.
Oh, crazy. Then. Yeah. Do go on.
What are you playing?
Well.
What are you playing?
Do it properly. What have I been?
No, because you did it so good earlier.
I haven't been practicing at all. Right. Hang on. I need to stop my cat doing things. Right. So professional. She's just decided that she wants to bust into the door into my, sound studio. But yeah. But anyway, so what have I been playing?
I hope no animals were hurt.
No animals were hurt.
Recording this podcast.
No animals were hurt. However, a big Dyson fan was placed in front of the door to stop the door being bashed open. But yeah, so I have been playing the expansion to Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat Aftermath, and I don't know if you've caught up with any of the FMVs and the storyline or anything like that.
No, I thought, even though you specifically spoke about it, I thought it hadn't come out yet. So great that it has. Have you burned through it all yet?
Yeah, burned it all. I think it took me about 3 or 4 hours altogether, if that. But yeah, it's like it's weird. Like the first story for Mortal Kombat 11, everybody was complaining because, oh my god, what is all this time travel shenanigans? It makes no sense, all that sort of stuff. They dive deeper into it, even more so. Like, they do what ifs, and they change history and they rewrite history, and they go back to the events of Mortal Kombat 11 and replay them out. It's quite special. And you also get to play some other cool characters. So whereas this first one was quite sorry, go on.
The big question with the other characters, and we talked about it last time, are Cyrax and Sector in it?
No. Although there is a very heavy rumour that they will be the next season pass characters, maybe. But we'll see. The other characters you get to play as are... I mean, one of them is actually just DLC from the previous game, Shang Tsung. He's like the major... what's it called? Antagonist? Both.
Antagonist.
Well, I think he's actually both, because you play as him an awful lot. And it's Shang Tsung.
Pro-antagonist?
Anti-hero, maybe. there's a callback to the 90s. Anti-hero. So you get 3 characters like with this new Mortal Kombat. You get Fujin, who is Raiden's brother. You get Robocop, which undoubtedly you've seen something about, and someone else I probably don't really care about. Clearly don't care enough about. But yeah, it's weird because all of the characters that you do get to play as throughout the game are all the DLC from Season 1. So I feel like this expansion pack was also kind of like somebody thought, you know what? Can we also make this like a free trial so that people can, or a paid for trial so that people will want to buy our previous DLC as well? I don't know if it gets included with the Aftermath. I'd already bought the season pass and things like that. It's just, I felt like, alright, okay, only playing as these extra characters. But it was, what I would say is, despite all the time traveling shenanigans and things like that, the story was good because it felt more Mortal Kombat-y. It was all in these like evil dark rooms and things like that, whereas in Mortal Kombat 11, everything was very special forces. It was Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, Jax, all these guys that are just very much, oh, I'm a human, I'm going to use a rifle, even though you never really use a rifle ever. So it was more fun to...
We're hanging around in military tents and other things like that.
Yeah, so it was more fun to actually play, as Sindel and Shao Kahn, and sort of be a bit feels a bit more Mortal Kombat. I know that the special ops are a big part of it and all that sort of stuff, but I liked it. I liked the storyline. I liked playing through it, and I actually started doing some of the towers as well. Now, last time previously I was just like, can't be bothered with the towers. It seems to have a million different currencies. I don't know what the fuck's happening. And why do people have customizations? Do they do things? Have they got special effects? What is this? And I will preface this with, I still don't know if it does anything or not. However, I kind of started playing as Sindel. This is good. I like playing this. This is a good character. I'm enjoying this. So I started running through the towers and playing through and doing fatalities and seeing people have a bit of banter, So, it's pulled me back in, probably for about a week or something like that. But at the most, it was a fun expansion to get. I played as Robocop as well. It's just a lot of fun. Robocop versus Terminator, like literally out of the comic book, so they have a bit of banter with each other. I feel like we've done this before, But yeah, the Robocop is really, really well done. It's actually Peter Weller they got in the original Robocop to do it. So
wow.
It's got his mocap and his voice. So really, really, really well done, and that sort of side of things. There was rumours again that in the DLC as well we're going to have Ash from Evil Dead, which I would like to see, but there's been weird things like Bruce Campbell himself sort of said, I won't be in it, yet he was doing the voiceovers and stuff like that, so I don't know where that's going to come from or where it's going to be, but we'll see. And yeah, I think it's one of these games that I'll touch when there's new DLC or new characters come out for it. I'll play it for a little bit and then I'm done. But all in all, Aftermath pulled me back in. I think I had a better experience with the expansion than I did with the original game. But there you go.
I've got 2 questions for you.
Okay, go.
First one, what give it out of 10?
I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10.
That's good. That's better than most. And then secondly, a slight tangent, because I don't believe I can think of a single example. Have you ever actually bought a season pass which is kind of handout? Because I feel like it's almost, for larger games, it's almost a standard thing to announce your game and the season pass. And then of all the examples I can think of, it kind of peters out. So you kind of buy, I'll go for a season pass, and you kind of get 1, maybe 2 something. And it just never seems, it's not like you're saving much money, or it always feels like they can never sustain themselves. It always feels like a bit of a false economy. And I can't think of one game that I've bought the season pass for because of it. And I can think of many games where, they dropped the 3rd expansion, or, it wasn't, it didn't really pan out. Or in some cases, support for the game completely disappears when they're not delivered on the back half of alleged season pass things.
But I'm going to cite some examples at you straight away. Smash Brothers, Pokemon. I know for a fact you dove right into them.
Yeah, that's true. But then they're not... I'm going to kind of... with Pokemon, that's an expansion, which is different from season pass, I think. I know that all this stuff gets mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you define a season and a season pass. Because a season you could probably look at what your Pokemon are doing with releasing X amount of Pokemon each time as a season. Because there is going to be an online change to the meta and all that sort of stuff. And there is battling and fighting versus each other. and you're sort of buying into, I can use these guys at this point. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
But then with Pokemon, for example, people with the base game will then have they won't have access to, but they can, all the new Pokemon will be available in their games, not for them to catch, but if they traded and whatever. Whereas I think so, maybe Smash Brothers is a better example, because I think it is something you tend to see a lot more in fighting games as well. This idea of season passes. I don't know. I've just not bought into them yet. I think with DLC, obviously that's. I just remember complaining so much about DLC, but now it's just a standard part of life, and there's good DLC and there's bad DLC, but season passes always still get a bit like,
I mean, ultimately, and I'll be honest with you, I know exactly where you're coming from. And if I buy a game on release, it's very unlikely I'm going to get the season pass straight away. I will tend to sort of buy the season pass as a way, like when it's discounted, as a way of getting all of the backdated DLC that came out during that season, or season of its, live service was around. So like Borderlands games, like I bought them very, very way past when their zeitgeist had long since gone. But then I got this season pass for free and thought, all right, okay, I get all of this expansion stuff. Excellent, great.
I guess it's sort of what's been happening on the Switch as well, right? Is if you were in on the ground when something came out on the 360, and you bought the season pass, now the Switch version just has all the DLC and expansions for bundled in.
Yeah. No, I mean, and to be honest, if you're going to resell a game and it's going to be like a one-off buy, and it's an older game with older mechanics or older looking after, or not even looked after any further, then just bundle everything together as one big thing. In fact, the Epic Store recently did Borderlands, and they did the handsome pack, as they call it, which is basically everything all bundled together. Like, here, play our Borderlands games, enjoy them. That's it. There's nothing more to them, really, because they're not going to support them any further. So it's pretty shit to ask somebody, oh yeah, well, if you're going to buy their old game, you might as well buy our DLC as well. Yeah. But yeah, no, I know where you're coming from. And season passes, in my experience, just end up being a way for me to bulk buy all of the DLC for one thing in one go. And yeah, I mean, I think I did the same with Mortal Kombat, to be honest. Like, unless there's like a special deal going on where you get the base game and the season pass in one go, I don't tend to really look for them in any fashion. But yeah.
I think I'm more sympathetic to kind of smaller season passes for games where people buying the season pass is, the revenue which drives the creation of the content which will come out in the season pass. So kind of like a sort of like stretch goal, I guess. It's just a risk reward thing, and I can think of far too many. Although you've raised some good examples, actually, and two which I have bought. For me, it's the risk reward, and I just more readily think of examples of like, man, can you imagine if you bought the season pass for that when it came out to get, a cock dribble of costumes and half a story expansion that they didn't wrap up.
Yeah, I know. Like there is terrible examples of that, and game companies or games that have just stopped support where they just like release a free DLC level just to tie up the story. It's just a thing that happens, and it's about games companies and like having been on the inside and seeing how they attempt to monetize it and how keeping a game alive as a service it's a tough thing to do, because ultimately you reach an end goal, which is the release, and then when it becomes a service or a live service, you need to keep innovating. But your team, who've done all the wonderful art and explosions and the story or whatever, are already working on another game. So you reduce it down to a skeleton staff and a community manager, and say, right, okay, what do we want to see next, everyone? Yeah. Do you guys want to create the content yourselves? Like something else recently. There's a Japanese fighting game or something like that. Yeah, Street Fighter. In fact, they said
that Japanese fighting game.
Yeah, no. But it was only a competition in Japan, where it was design the outfit for X character, and it'll be featured in our next game. And then like, wait a minute. You want somebody else to do design artwork for free, just so that you can get like limited exposure on a fighting game? That's not really fair, you know. So it's I think there was a bit of a controversy about like doing work but for no pay, slave labor. I think some people call it. Yeah.
On that, I watched. I can't remember who made it. Look it up. So I imagine it was the only one. There's a really great Warframe documentary. And I've spent a bit of time with Warframe, but it's about how when they were starting off, they kind of baked in from the ground that they'd have this rolling content, and it's really interesting because there's a whole other podcast. It's a phenomenal game, free to play, but they just keep content rolling out. And there's a really interesting section where they talk about, I think it was there, but they're talking about how with a game that has a live service like that, which also is rolling out onto different platforms, you've got to cater for new players coming in, as well as like that handful of people who probably do put down a big bit of money on, all your new releases and your gear and your costumes and cosmetics. But a week after this huge update comes out, they've burnt through all of it and are hitting the forums saying, right, what's next? And then, players like me who was coming to Warframe, I don't know, a decade after it came out. And, I read through the kind of, every now and then a huge update has to download. And I'll read through what's kind of been put into the game. It's new systems, new planets, new meta games. I'm like, I've not even seen, I don't even know what they're talking about. I'm still basically bumbling around as an NPC, completely unaware of all these kind of different things. So it's a really interesting thing they have to do, to balance both those kind of the whales and the people who just burn through stuff, as well as people who maybe a game that they play every now and then, or what if you are that player coming to it 10 years later, and that's really tough in Warframe. You can't just kind of pick it up. You load it up, and that first, I don't know, 100 hours? What is going on? Why are there so many menus? What is this called? I saw this guy walk past, and it was, what is he wearing? And like, what is that? And what does this mean? What's that shiny thing? What's this update? It can be a big hurdle.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose. I mean, like, I remember there was a game. This is a rubbish story if I can't even remember the name of the game. Fuck.
There's a game. There's not many games, so we can narrow it down.
It was a game that had been around for a while, and it had an service, and then it actually shooed in a tutorial mode, just so people remember, oh, actually, this is the game, this is actually how you play it, even though the game had been around for an hour, and it's like, alright, okay, an hour, like a year, an hour.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Richie, get your words and use them properly. Fuck. Right, yeah, it's like, there is like games that just shoe in this extra content after the fact. Another good example is Eve. Eve Online was just spreadsheets in space with your space combat, and then they backtracked and they gave you the ability to do all of this character customization for a character you never see in game, and then they gave you the ability to see that character in game, and then so they kind of. They started with a core model and then went back and added these extra things. They simplified things and they added tutorials in as well. I mean, EVE Online it's a special thing in itself,
I think Dwarf Fortress is another one, right? It's 12 years into that game, and they added graphics a couple of months ago.
Dwarf Fortress, 12 years is. I think it's been around a lot longer than that. I think Dwarf Fortress.
Well, it got graphics
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah. I mean, Dwarf Fortress is these super basement dweller, ultra geeky, sort of text-based ones, I think, that have been around like in the days of mugs and mups and all that sort of thing. I'm actually I know this because I feel like it for a long, long time. Or maybe I'm mixing it up with something. It came out in 2006. That is not what I expected. Awesome. Okay, so yeah,
maybe it's like maybe it's like Minecraft, which was in beta for 12 years before that.
Yeah, it was text based. Oh right, wait a minute. It's in development since 2002. Oh no, first of it. No, fine, whatever. I must be thinking it's
great podcast material. Richie reads Wikipedia.
Yeah, never mind.
Not even like.
Yeah. Aye, okay. But yeah, so I'm glad we went off on that tangent. Any other questions about Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath?
No.
Okay, cool. So, what?
Yeah.
What are you playing?
At some point I might. So what am I playing? I have been playing Resident Evil 0. The remaster.
Okay.
I'm not too sure how much remastering was done on the PlayStation 4. And this is because I'd played. I've also been playing, but I went to Resident Evil 7.
Okay.
And during the mad lockdown summer sale, I think Resident Evil 1, 0, and something else was mad cheap. The remake, and so I've had a bit. I bought and played 0 and the remake on the GameCube when it first came out, and we talked about this a number of times because the Resident Evil remake obviously is different from Resident Evil, and I'm very anxious playing it because it's sort of the Spencer Mansion but in a different universe.
Amen.
So
that door, as soon as you walk into that mansion, there's that door in the middle of the staircase going up. You're just like, that wasn't there. That wasn't there. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. You go behind this. So because it's sort of the same, and it is hands down a better game, right? The places it takes you, the introduction of Lisa. Everything about it is much better, but because I spent so much in the original Spencer Mansion, and because it's similar, it's not completely different. Some things work in the same way, some layouts are exactly the same. Just that heightened sense of anxiety. So I'd recently played through that, then played through 7, which I'll talk about at some point later. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I thought 0. I've got a lot of time for 0. So 0 is obviously the kind of prequel in the much rewritten and retold Resident Evil chronology, where you are Rebecca Chambers, who's part of the first team that goes in to investigate the mansion.
Alpha team.
You get separated from the rest of the team. Is it, or is it Bravo team?
No, Bravo team is Jill and Stars and all that. Jill and Stars. Oh my god. Sure? Jill and Chris. Yeah.
Jill and Stars.
Jill and Chris.
Featuring Jill Valentine.
Guest starring Nemesis. No, I'm pretty sure that they were Bravo team and searching for Alpha team. Oh, fuck. I'm not Googling it. Doesn't matter. No. One or the other. Let's go for it. Oh god.
Can you remember we used to run a Resident Evil themed website?
Nobody knows that it's Resident Evil themed.
Original Resident Evil. Anyway, whilst we look up how this is wrong, who knows? She gets separated, meets up with the escaped criminal.
Yeah, Bravo Captain. And then is Jill. Jill is the Bravo Captain. So Rebecca's part of Bravo team, eh?
There we go. That's information we knew first time, absolutely, and didn't have to look it up and discuss it in depth. And so she meets up with Billy, who's this supposed escaped convict.
Wait a minute, is that Billy Big Balls, best at Mario Kart?
It's not Billy Big Balls, World Champion America. It's also not Billy Birkin, with his eyeballs in his arm. It's another Billy Cohen, I think his name is. And they have this whole adventure. And one of the things I would have loved to have seen, so she goes through this mansion, through a training facility, to a lab. She fights a giant centipede, a giant bat. She fights the Leech Man. And so I'd love to see an update or a patch for the Resident Evil remake. So when, Chris bumps into her in the mansion, he's like, Rebecca. And she's like, Chris, I've had a whole fucking day of it, because she's usually it's one horrific long, night, I think, or it's 2 days before she even gets into the mansion.
And playing a piano badly.
And plays the piano badly, yeah, which they sort of riff on. So Resident Evil 0 is one of my favourites. For one of the reasons why it's also much maligned. So the gimmick in this one is you can switch between Billy and Rebecca. You've also got limited commands they can kind of play together. So at its worst, and they kind of set things up so that you're essentially just swapping items. So you'll need to have like at least a gun each. Things like shotguns take up 2 inventory slots. Your inventory's tiny and it never expands. You want some ammo. You've often got 1 or 2 quest items, and you've got kind of herbs between you. And then you'll enter a new area, and there'll be a 2 item. You have to like lug around the hook shop, which is also 2 items. So it's a lot of switching between 2 characters, dropping items on the floor. There's also a limit on the number of items you can drop per room, and so it's really finicky. And a lot of people got really pissed off with it for this fact. So it just seemed like obtuse design that between the 2 characters, you're pretty much almost always needing 2 more slots than you have between 2 characters. So you're either dropping shit everywhere, which means you have to do massive backtracks. And there's 2 parts in particular where, unless you know it's coming, you're going to have to backtrack all the way through the level. So I can see why people hate it, and it does get annoying. But I also like, I don't know, it's some weird thing. Like, with the Resident Evil 4, where you spend a lot of time shuffling things around in your inventory. A bit like Diablo as well.
Yep.
And there's something satisfying about it, but also, it completely destroys any kind of tension or flow in this narrative when you're in this creepy mansion with science experiments and obtuse puzzles, where you then spend half an hour, swapping bullets between each other, dropping shit on the floor, running back and forth. Anyway, so I was really looking forward to it, and stupidly I started playing it at 10 o'clock at night, and I'd had a look at the achievements, and then me and my wife were kind of co-oping it to maximise achievements on a run, for whatever reason, for trophies, sorry. So I was on a no mixed herb, no first aid spray run. Was gonna go for the no saving, but then I did save at one point, just before the church where you fight the bat. I got all the way through, picked up all the files. There's certain couple of trophies for doing weird shit. Trophies for just obscure stuff. So I was doing really, really well. By this point, I think it was 4 a.m. So it's not a record-beating run at all. My wife had gone to bed, and I was in the final stretch of the game, maybe one more area. So by this point, and again, I've mentioned this before, I was sitting there with a walkthrough, just following this walkthrough, right? Which is, I don't know, I feel really bad, really dirty doing that. Is this gaming?
I can't believe you admitted it.
Because I was fine up to that point, and then I thought, I'm falling asleep. I want to get this done. I don't want to add another save. It's half, when the light is peeking in behind the curtains. I don't really fucking around, having to run all the way back to the last 3 levels to get a hook shot or pick up the bloody green chemical. And I'm running on the dam. Yeah, Rebecca's tied up or something, and you're Billy. And if you've played Resident Evil 0, there's this one enemy you see, I think, less than 3 times, called a lurker. And it's just a shit giant frog. And they take a handful of bullets, like one shotgun shell, right? And they They're not I didn't think they were a threat. And this walkthrough was
foreshadowing there. Foreshadowing.
Chekhov's lurker. I've never had an issue with them as far as I can remember, right? And this walkthrough is like, go down this dam, a lurker might pop out and ignore it and just carry on running. So I run across this dam, this lurker pops out, I run to the kind of next screen because it's popping between pre-rendered backgrounds as it did. And then this tongue shoots from the screen where the lurker was and grabs Billy's leg. I'm like, oh shit, the walkthrough said it wouldn't be a problem. I should have probably shot it. And then it slowly drags you all the way onto its screen. I was like, this looks kind of unescapable. And then it swallowed Billy in one gulp. Dead. Game over. You died. And then I was expecting does it have a continue like, modern Resident Evil games? No, that's it.
Yeah.
So that was 4 hours of file collecting wasted. So I'm never going to touch Resident Evil 0 ever again.
Cool. Good shout.
I wasted that whole night. And then because I'm getting old now, I was just fucked up the rest of the day because I'd not slept properly.
And you probably didn't even get proper sleep. It was rage sleep, probably. You're still, your heart was palpitating at this fucking lurker, man.
And it was just this stupid lurker, and it would have been a shotgun bullet. Just, and I had hundreds. It was just hubris, greed, desperation, the fucking walkthrough, which I would just ignore it. Gutted.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they could one-shot you.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea. I didn't even know the frog things existed. I played Resident Evil 0 on the GameCube cooperatively around at a friend's house, and I think I played it for like an hour and a bit. I don't really remember what was happening, and I remember getting very frustrated by the item dropping mechanic. It's like, why do you have such a tiny inventory? Exactly the points that you covered. But I haven't picked it up since. Again, it is another one that I have in my massive Steam library, but I'm less tempted to go.
Playing it.
No,
it's a bullshit game.
Yeah, bullshit.
Cheating computer bullshit. Worse Resident Evil.
Alright, cool. Well, there you go.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. Resident Evil. No. 0 out of 10.
Hey, no, it's a good game, and should I ever have the heart, I will probably pick it up and play through that back half again. But yeah. Hubris.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
What are you playing?
Oh, well, here I've got a real surprise game, one that you might not have heard of, that I've been playing. Okay. You ready? I have been playing World of Warcraft.
Hey, I wondered if this was going to be on your list.
But I'm not going to go into the great long details of what I've been doing. I'm actually just going to tell you about something that I've been playing about with recently. So, I have been doing sort of guild raids a lot recently, and I play as a paladin, so my role in most raids is going to be healing. But I did
casting unburning smite on the goblins.
Unburning smites on the goblins. Well, no, actually, just pressing flash heal, dispel, flash heal. That's essentially all a holy paladin does. You collect ridiculously high plus healing, and then you just spam a heal over and over again. You get gear. Win.
What does that actually involve? Is that a keyboard press?
It's actually I've simplified it. I've got a I've got a mod. Well, it's not a mod for it. It's an add-on, an interface add-on for healing, and it's initially called HealBot. But basically, you, depending on what click you do, you can do like a left click, right click. You can do different styles of healing or dispels or whatever.
So what are your actual inputs during a raid? You were sat there and you're clicking left and right.
Yeah. I move around, I follow the raid, I click the heal button whenever I see anybody's health has less than full. That is essentially it. But there is other things, like I took special talents for like improved lay on hands, which gives the tank extra armor and things like that, just at situational moments. It also becomes a sort of, there's a weird meta which none of the healers really speak about, because there's usually about 10 to 12 healers in a raid, but we all steal each other's heals if we can. I know this sounds silly, but to be like the top of the healing meters, you usually just sort of snipe a heal from someone else so that you can.
Talk us through? I mean, obviously, I know everything you're talking about, but suppose a listener has no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
How do you snipe a health? Do you have certain people who are like, you are looking after, you are healing these people, and I'm healing these people?
Quite often there are assignments, so like usually there'll be 2 healers on a particular person, if it's the tanks, the people who are most likely to be getting damaged, and the rest of the people will be on raid healing, because there's 40 people in this raid, so other people still need to get healed up. But in the case of, if you know the boss mechanics, you know that the boss is about to do a big attack or is going to hit the tank for a lot of damage, you need to sort of preemptively get ready with a heal, because there's no, well, there is, but generally you won't be using an instant cast heal. You'll be using a thing that will take either 1 second or 2 seconds. So what you want to do is try and get that exact moment before the boss, or just as the boss is hitting the tank, so that you can get the heal first, so you can get the maximum heals per second sort of thing. And there's definitely, in the guild, I can see there's an unwritten thing of like, this person's getting more than me, or that person's got a bigger, higher heal, and all that sort of stuff. And it's just basically about prediction of those mechanics. So it's a weird sort of meta that's played. I'm far from the best healer in the game. I didn't even really go into the game expecting to be a healer.
You sure? You sure? It's not like your Mario Kart and Streets of Rage.
Billy Big Balls.
Billy Big Balls. You're actually world champion healer in WoW.
No, because you can actually look at the WoW records, and I don't parse particularly high. So it's it's fine. I don't care. Healing parses don't mean anything really.
Do you know if everyone else is stealing heals, or maybe you're just outing yourself to your entire guild as a heal stealer?
I mean, when I'm on healing assignments, I don't steal heals, but yes, everybody is definitely stealing heals where they can.
Are you sure about that?
100%.
My other question is, in general, do you find that healers tend to be much more submissive people?
Are you trying to make me insult the rest of my guild?
No, do you have to be a bottom to be a healer?
I would say no.
You would say no.
You would say no.
So,
but
you've been raiding. What have you been raiding? Sorry, I interrupted your story. Carry on.
Exactly. The whole point was
you and the other submissives are stealing each other's heals, which is basically as bottom picky as you could be. Scrabbling for the handfuls of XP that you can by stealing off your fellow submissives.
There's no XP at endgame. Fucking hell, Farley, get it together.
What are you doing? What are you clicking for?
Gear. Progression.
Yeah.
Anyway, my whole point was, without your disdain and your grumbling, yes, we've been raiding Molten Core, Zul'Gurub, and Blackwing Lair. Pretty much got them all on farm. Not an issue. Rygar would love them.
Say them again. Molten Core's kind of cool. I'm down with Molten Core. What are the other ones?
Blackwing Lair.
Okay, generic but fine.
Yeah, and Zul'Gurub.
Oh, that is such a My First Fantasy name thing. It's got a Z in it. The consonants, too many consonants.
If you care, the lore is it's a troll dungeon, so most troll things usually have Zul in them. Altar of Zul, or Zulaman. These things. So it's consistent, if that helps. Consistently.
Zul'Gurub. And what part of the southern hemisphere is this supposed to be? Is it Africa?
No.
South America?
The trolls tend to have a very Jamaican demeanour.
Right. Oh, yeah, I remember.
You played as a troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So you're basically looting Jamaica.
No. That's these are trolls that are under
alliance mates.
Let's not go into this. Not at this time. Anyway, my point was, we've already spoken about World of Warcraft. Everyone knows we play it, and I'm not going to go into the great depths of that. But what I was saying was, specifically, I was doing some raiding recently, not as holy, but as retribution, which
Hold
is
the phone.
You super care so much.
The front door.
Yeah.
No way.
Are you done?
Never thought I'd see the day. What does that mean?
So rather than being a healer, I was a damage dealer.
Is it less submissive? Is it where the higher ranked paladins sit within the social hierarchy?
I don't think paladins in general sit very well within the the social circles, but just because they're the best class lore wise, and they can do everything. They have the hybrid tax, so they are excellent. They have the ability to do all things, but not all things.
Excellent and nothing.
They're quite good at healing, which is why everybody has a paladin in a healing role, and not. You certainly wouldn't have a paladin tank, and retribution is generally frowned upon because it's a damage spot where somebody could actually be doing proper damage rather than sort of low.
Fox only.
Fox
only. No items.
Fox only.
Final destination.
Okay. But yeah, I did some because I spend a lot of my time because I have most of the top gear that I want or can get in there.
All right, Billy.
For healing, I can also I bid on retribution gear. So I had quite a good retribution gear set, and I had a big hammer, and on that night I actually won a great big sword, which is BIS, aka best in slot. And it was good fun.
I hate that.
You hate everything, man.
No, I don't. I hate that it's been coded into best in slot, and then that coding has been shortened, abbreviated. Ugh.
It's BIS.
BIS. You won BIS. Okay. So, how was that? Did you enjoy not winning bottom?
I was really bad at it. Well,
All that build up. That was really bad at it.
well, no, I was actually like, yeah.
So it's tickled me. Go on.
It was more that I haven't done that much meleeing, which is going in and attacking things. And I've been spending most of my time as a holy paladin, sort of throwing heals, doing a little dance in the back, throwing bits of light at people. Whereas this was actually getting down and dirty in amongst it. And I went in there with the hopes of showing some
Impressing
impact.
the girls.
But I had messed up my keybinds, so I was fixing them on the fly. I had the wrong item on for a couple of nights as well, and I was like, oh god. That being said, though, once we went through Molten Core, and it's a reasonably easy raid, I did get messed up by a couple of the mechanics, but we got to the end, got to Ragnaros. I got to stand in my special spot alongside one of the other Retribution Paladins, and I didn't do badly. I got some good hits in. We were lucky we never got thrown away by Ragnaros, who's the final boss in Molten Core, and it was good fun to do. I enjoyed it. I think about Rhett an awful lot. It was good to actually play it. And I'm gonna continue doing some Rhett raids where I can, and just try and get better at it, because it's got some fun, good gear.
How do you navigate the politics of, if you can? If you just rocked up to the guild and said, look, I'm just Rep Paladin from now on in, they'd be like, nah, mate.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, because you're part of the guild,
Nah, mate.
You've achieved an awful lot with them. So, in order for me to get all the holy gear that I have got, it's only because I have been raiding with them. So it's kind of a bit shit to turn around and suddenly say, nah, you know what, I'm not doing any more of this healing lark. And I don't mind healing at all. It's actually quite fun, it's quite chilled, it's quite relaxed, and there are, especially in some of the later raids, Blackwing Lair specifically, there are challenges for healers. There are things that you have to do, times when you can't heal, there are mechanics that are thrown in there for everyone. So it's not exactly, like I was saying, in Molten Core, yes, you just find the gaps and you throw the heals and you play the meta of, right, who can I snipe a heal from? Oh no, this person's 0.1 of a second ahead of me, There's no
glory.
What do you mean?
There's no glory in healing.
Why is that?
Because it's not, it's...
I mean, ultimately... Everybody's lives are in my hands, I could stop healing at any point,
Yeah, but you won't.
No, absolutely not.
Because the damages could stop damaging at any point, and then nobody would get any items.
Yeah, exactly. Everything needs to move.
Say, I don't want to be out there on the front line, putting my life on the line. I just want to cower in the back with my macros.
With your macros. What macros would they be?
Heal quicker, macro, heal finder,
a macro.
Dweller,
you have no idea what a macro is, do you?
Bottom feeding. Some sweet bottom feeding add-ons where you steal heals from 7-year-old children.
Macros are special commands that you can do using slash commands, almost like typing stuff in. It's really unimmersive. I have a couple where I help the hunter out by giving him Blessing of Might.
Right.
So I have a macro to target him, cast Blessing of Might.
Is that a euphemism? So you give a hunter a macro
No. I have a macro to give a hunter Blessing of Might. As in,
And then
give
what does
him.
the hunter?
He then gets plus attack power from the Blessing of Might that I've given him. It is a buff.
Okay. So, how did you like your time in the spotlight as a true hero?
As a true hero, I thoroughly enjoyed playing as Rhett. Once
as a real man.
Once I got into the swing of it. But yeah, initially I was not very good, and
even though you've been dreaming of it.
Yeah,
for days.
That's the thing. It's just like once you get there, it's like stage fright, and the worst thing is like I'd already set everything up on my laptop, and my laptop broke. I'm like, shit, literally that day, and I'm like,
Excuses.
fuck. So I moved onto my gaming rig, and I hadn't moved.
Then you were using your friend's joypad.
Oh, fuck off. You know what? Fuck off and die. I literally, it was like one item I had wrong, and...
Do you have photographs of your broken laptop, or...?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And
photographs of you holding the newspaper with the date.
Do you know what? I have a full straight-up recording of that entire raid as Rhett.
That's a little bit too convenient.
No, I deliberately. I was going to do a whole podcast on this where you and I comment on this because you'd be so into it and interested in what's happening.
I would actually. It was particularly if you like. And here's the bit where I don't have the right item.
Here's the bit where I died. Here's the bit where I lose all of my buffs. Here's the bit where I realise I should be hitting this monster.
Here's the bit where if you look at the chat, my guild are just shouting at me because everyone can see I don't quite know what I'm doing. I'd be into that.
Yeah, okay. Well, another time. Maybe we'll do one of our, extra special podcasts with video. I'm sure. Yeah.
Back to our roots.
Yeah, back to the original roots. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say was what I've been doing recently is I've been raiding as Retribution Paladin, which has been good fun, and despite all of your mockery. And
I only do it because I love it. I love hearing you talk about WoW. So what are you going to do? Are you back into...
Well, you're going to hate me, but I took a hybrid spec. So I'm hybrid Ret and Holy. So for Blackwing Lair, which...
so you're like, hang on. Paladins aren't middle of the road enough. What I'll do is I'll make sure that I don't do anything at all particularly well, and I'll just do everything not very good.
No, with healing, there's only one proper key talent that you need, and everything else is just about buffing everything else. But I instead of buffing everything else, I am taking more retributions, selfish talents for increasing my damage and things like that. So basically, I've got a hybrid spec. So I will be doing Blackwing Lair mostly as healing because we need the extra healers. But with Molten Core, it's a bit more blasé because we're really just farming it for Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. And sorry. Oh dear. Yeah, so we're farming it for that, and I can go in and I can hit things. And Zul'Gurub's also a piece of piss. So I'll probably be hitting things with my big sword there.
Zul'Gurub. What would you give WoW out of 10?
I'm gonna give 9 out of 10.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. You should try it one day.
Unfortunately, I retired on top of my game. And you can watch the video of me owning WoW in my first go, really.
Yeah, youtube.com/thatguy'samaniac. Yeah. Right. I'm going to stop talking now and I'm going to ask you, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I have been playing... What am I going to talk about? So I've got quite a bit on my list. Uncharted 2. and the inspiration for this is probably quite obvious. So after playing Tomb Raider, I was like, I'm quite up for some Tomb Raider type things. I'd never really played Uncharted series at all, but I did have the second game, which was given to me, which I played the first 10 minutes of. So I thought, boot up the PlayStation 3 and play this. Also, and this is just an insight into how horribly I'm just have no willpower when it comes to bloody trophies and achievements. I had a look at the trophies for Uncharted, and I think it came out before they really knew what to do with trophies. So it's just simply you get a trophy for collecting 10 treasures, 20 treasures, 1 treasure, 10 treasures, 20 treasures, 30 treasures, 40 treasures.
You sound drunker and drunker the more you say treasures.
50 treasures, 60 treasures, 70 treasures. So it's like, great, I can up my arbitrary number that sits next to my name on a legacy format quite easily by doing this. So, fired it up. And again, as is part of the course of this podcast, surprising nobody because they knew this when it came out 15 years ago. Uncharted's quite a good game. Uncharted 2.
Yeah, imagine
Shocker.
that.
I know. Who would have thought? It seems, and again, with a bit of time between it coming out and me playing it, it feels very shallow, especially compared to like the modern Tomb Raiders and things like the most recent Assassin's Creeds. So it is very kind of run and gun. You're hopping about the environment, but it's not too challenging. And I think that's why it's so successful. It's just a fun romp, like the not mega blockbuster, but film with the actors that you like, that is going to be fun. You can switch your brain off. That's kind of where Uncharted's going. From the first cutscene, you're sitting around a table, and this is spoilers for Uncharted 2. You're sitting around a table with 3 characters, and you're like, I bet he's shagging her, and I bet he's the bad guy. And within the end of the first level, it's like, oh yeah, he's shagging her, and he's the bad guy. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, that's all there is to say about it, really. It's explory, more Tomb Raider than modern Tomb Raiders. The modern Tomb Raider, people will argue. It's about treasures, looting, good games.
Right. I mean, I'm impressed that you've played Uncharted. I think I'm actually just looking at my library. I do not own it. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Was it cross format?
Uncharted? I feel like it's on PC. Let me check this.
Was it a PlayStation?
Let's check the store.
Live, Wikipedia, and Steam. And spelled Uncharted.
Uncharted Tides, Uncharted Waters, Uncharted Ocean. Okay, yeah. These
PlayStation.
Yeah. PlayStation only.
Android and iOS.
Oh, it'll be some fucking runner or something like that. Yeah.
Fortune Hunter.
Maybe it's a casino game.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a pachinko game. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, it sounds like a pachinko game. Let's just say it is a pachinko game.
I've got it up.
There we go. It was good.
There you go. Cool.
And what is it?
What would you give it out of 10?
So I played the first 3 levels. There's a bit of stealth. It's really forgiving. Mind you, this was off the back of that fucking lurker in Resident Evil. So if you fall off a rooftop, it just pops you back on the rooftop. It's like, there you go again.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why it was so successful. It's just easy to play. but there's not too much depth. Nothing feels like it has, there's not a complexity of systems, of ways of navigating the environment. Just a nice cinematic romp. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Probably, if I played it when it came out, that would be an 8. But with a retrospective glasses on, 7.
7. All right. Okay. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
And you reckon you're going to finish it?
Yes, unless I get one-shotted in the last level by
By a frog monster.
cheap enemy design that sets me back 6 hours work. Yeah, I probably will actually, just to get the trophy. So I'm just sitting there with a "Here are where the treasures are" guide, doing that as well.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. What are you playing?
Well, there's a couple more I want to talk about, and again, I feel like I might be an advert for the Epic Store.
You're sounding like one.
I am a little bit, but basically,
You've mentioned it every single episode.
yeah.
But also, you have mentioned that you've downloaded a whole bunch of games and not touched them. So,
yeah, exactly. I haven't spent any money on the Epic Store, if that helps. All I've been doing is like every week they bring out free games, and like, all right, okay, cool, I'll download that, or I will put it into my library and not download it, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple that I've got for free and played about with. And the first one I want to talk about is Steep. Do you know
snowboarding game?
Steep? It isn't. It is. It's not just snowboarding. It's skiing. It's that body flight suit thing that people do.
Oh yeah.
And all sorts of things like that. There's parachuting. It's sort of that extreme sports life that people lead on the mountain, sort of thing. Now,
is it related to snow?
I don't know. I know Snow. It's a free game. Snow, isn't it? On Steam.
It seemed that snow sports games entered a phase where they just had single, short, cool titles.
Yeah, yeah. Like just. But yeah, Snow is. I think it might be a different studio. It's not one that I've actually touched on or played, so I'm not going to comment too much on it. But yeah, it might be. But I know that Snow is free. Like Snow is a completely free game.
Unlike this game, which you got for free.
Well, Steep is normally paid for. Snow is initially a free-to-play game where you buy the Ultimate Edition of it, or something like that. So you get extra things with it. I don't know that much about it, so I'm going to stop talking about Snow because I'm here to talk about Steep.
Okay. Have you played it?
Yes, I played it for a good few hours. And of course, the main reason I was excited to play Steep was like...
Let me guess.
Go on.
Are you trying to itch that SSX scratch?
Scratch
without playing
that SSX
tricky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, very, very much into tricky. SSX3 was an interesting take on it, but it never grabbed me.
It was the Time Splitters 3 of the SSX trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. And wait a minute, was there not an SSX on the 360 as well? A fourth one?
It had a funny name.
Fucking got it.
I was trying way too hard.
Yeah, it was, and it was all jump-in multiplayer stuff. Steep has that as well. Like, you will be on the slopes and you'll just see actual live players, going past you, doing their own thing, or whatever it was.
Oh my god, There's a 4th and 5th SSX game.
4th and 5th. What is the 5th one?
Yeah.
Tell me it's not
Blur.
out yet. Blur.
SSX Blur, and then before that was SSX on Tour.
Yeah, on tour.
SSX 3. SSX Tricky.
Huh. So I remember on the 360.
Blur was a Wii game.
Oh no, I never played Blur. No.
And SSX on Tour, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PSP.
Xbox 360 or Xbox?
Xbox.
Oh, because I've got the 360 one in front of me here, and it's just called SSX.
What?
Yeah, just straight up SSX. It doesn't have like an on tour or anything like that. So there's 6 SSX games.
Maybe you've got a limited edition.
Oh,
rare,
fuck off and die. I do not.
Like your fucking Mario.
I will show you that Mario one, and then I will make you fucking eat that cartridge.
I thought it was at your mum's in your attic, or you lost it, or your laptop broke. I do have it.
Literally, I was on the phone to my mum saying, "Can you find that SNES cartridge?" And I had to explain what a SNES cartridge.
Can you risk life and limb climbing up the attic on your own, on that rickety ladder, and try and dig out this bootleg SNES cartridge?
Yeah, but remind me where your will is. Yeah.
Maybe write some of the siblings out of it whilst you're at it, and then just pop and find that SNES cart if you will.
But yeah, no, I actually asked her to try and find it, and yeah, to no joy. I had to explain what a blooming SNES cartridge was, and she brought out, I've got one that says GoldenEye, and I'm like, oh man, that's not even SNES.
Look at the shape of the cartridge, you fucking idiot.
Get back up those stairs.
And if you bring a Game Boy cartridge down, I swear to God. Yeah, SSX came out in 2012.
For the 360.
For the 360 and the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. And that
this
one.
Is a game we will not be talking about.
Yes, I'm so glad we've covered that. But yeah, anyway.
Any other snowboarding games we can cover, apart from the one you were playing?
Cool Borders?
Is there one called 360?
Or no, it was Cool Borders 1080 or something like that.
Oh yeah. Did you ever play Cool Borders?
No, I didn't. I don't know why I'm bringing it up. There was also the snowboarding section in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh no, actually let's talk about that. That mini game was awful.
Yep. Is it actually okay? Right. Snowboarding mini game
was quite cool.
Versus the motorcycle mini game, which is worse? Yeah.
I think the motorcycle ones are more frustrating, but it's actually more of a game. The snowboarding one was just slow. I just remember it being slow, and kind of felt like treacle. It felt like you were sliding down treacle.
Yeah, it did have a treacle-ness to it. I mean, like turning on it, you're like, you have to make that turn way in advance. You have to before it's even got into the draw distance.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But
frustrating.
But also, like that motorcycle thing is just arcadey. It's not a game. It's just arcadey sort of ness. It was frustrating more than anything.
Okay, which one is worse, the motorcycle game or the Moogle game?
The Moogle game. What Moogle game?
You know, there's like a Moogle arcade machine in the Golden Saucer.
Oh god, where you have to play. Oh god, like it's sort of like an edutainment thing. Oh, I'd repress that. Oh, I'd probably repress that. Yeah, that's worse.
You get something for doing a particular combination, don't you?
Yeah, you have to do it an X amount of time to get the full story of the Moogle making best friends or something stupid, awful like that. Oh god!
Did you get a summon materia?
Oh,
I felt like there was a really
why did we say these
reason.
things? Oh god! What? Right? Fucking Google.
I think it was a really compelling reason to do it, even though playing to that Moogle game was not fun.
Mog game. How do you beat Mog House? Yeah, fucking hell. Right, keep feeding him nuts until it makes a squeaky noise.
I hope the music's now in your head.
Yeah. Oh god. Please. Stop it. This is not. Oh dear. Yes. Mog House, Final Fantasy 7 rewards. Listen to me, Google. Mog House.
I think you just get GP. It might have been an easy GP source.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? I can't actually see any rewards from it at all.
Mog and Mag.
Yeah.
And they have children. Wow. What was the snowboarding game on the N64?
The what one?
That was snowboarding game.
Cool Borders. 1080.
No, that was PlayStation, surely. I remember playing a demo.
Oh. Wait a minute, no, you're right. Wait a minute, so the first time you play Mog House, you get 30 GP from a man who stands over your shoulder watching you. You get no more prizes. So it's just basically you get GP as in, what's it called? The golden saucer currency.
Saucer money, yeah.
So you do it once. It's an easy way to do that, and that's it. Awful.
1080 snowboarding was the N64.
1080 snowboard. So it wasn't Cool Borders 1080, it was 1080 snowboarding. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I didn't play that one either.
Cool. So, Steep.
I don't know. The best way to describe Steep is not necessarily as like a snowboarding sim or a recreator or anything kind of like that. It's more like, and I'm gonna go a little vague here, but you know these channels which show extreme sports, which show like
yes.
Yeah, and they've got like backing music where you watch somebody do a BMX in a skate rink and do flips and tricks, and it's all slow motion.
It feels like ADHD TV, but it was kind of around before ADHD, before everyone had claimed they had ADHD, right? It was just, you could never.
You get lots of stuff like
this. To that channel, and there'd be something crazy going on, but you could never really follow it. It's not like, oh, I'll just check in. It'll be like, oh, here's some random video from some supposed championship you've never heard of.
Yeah, it's like slow TV before slow TV was a thing.
Egg and spoon race.
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you get these extreme sports, like you get it even today. Like fashion TV is just like fashion people on a shoot, and you've got a music video kind of going on at the same time, and all it is really just you're watching someone pose, and like there's nothing happening, there's no narrative, it is just music and images. ADHD. But yeah, with extreme sports it's the same thing. You usually have like sort of like ambient dance music, trance music, or punky trance music while somebody's doing skateboard tricks or jumping or doing some parkour or something like that. But basically, I feel like Steep captures that feeling, what's the word I'm looking for? The overall ambience. Yeah.
Energy.
Yes, it recreates the energy of those channels or those TV shows of extreme sports, watching it, even down to the soundtrack. Like, the soundtrack is incredibly, like, I feel like I've heard this a million times before, but only because I've seen these extreme sports channels and things like that. And there is like a point where you're actually shooting or recreating a night run of a snowboard on a snowboard. So the challenge is follow this person as if you've got a GoPro on your head.
Oh yeah.
And you to try and create a night motion video, which will be, sent off and in post and fixed as the narrative says. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. This is weird. And then you get to like jump off the mountain and you do that body flying thing, and then you can almost do anything you want to do on this mountain.
Yeah. So it's like being a rich kid in the 90s.
Yeah, it's a very good way of putting it. Yeah, it's like a rich kid whose parents could let them summer in the Alps. Yeah,
a simulator.
Literally, your end goal in this is to be able to get a helicopter that takes you all around the Alps.
Oh god! and then to get your parents to cover up a date rape incident in your chalet before later going on to become, I don't know, a senator or something.
Yeah.
It'd be really dark if that's how the game played. You play 30 hours of fucking extreme sports, and then it enters this really serious kind of dark.
So I hear you play a holy paladin. Do you want to come back to my chalet?
It was a really dark tale about privilege and inequality. Well, maybe it will still go there. You don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly. I only played it for 3 hours. I mean, when you talk about treacle on the snowboarding in Final Fantasy VII, it feels a lot like that in this. The game is ridiculously pretty, but I think it tries to capture snowboarding a little too tightly.
Yeah, snowboarding and skiing, I imagine. I've done neither. But it's kind of exhausting, right?
Yeah, I would guess it's exhausting, and I guess actually, a lot of the time it's mostly just walking in a direction.
For then 10 minutes of going down.
10 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
The whole of Garibaldi took, 3-4 minutes?
Well, including restarts?
Not including restarts, because that would take your whole life. Yeah. But yeah, like, it does play quite tough, and you do restart a lot in it as well. It's like, it's very unforgiving. If you fuck up, you're going to die. You're just going to splatter your brains against rocks. Do
you do tricks and stuff, or is it more just go downhill? Are there points? What's the system? What's the script? What's the script with this steep?
Yes, there are tricks, and it was weird. I just, because the control system's different, I automatically went to tricky. And that's not how you do the tricks, but you can do some tricks like it. So I was like, oh cool, I'm doing it. But you can't jump in the same way as you do that run up, lock yourself, and then you jump, and then you do the spins and stuff like that. You don't do that locking thing, which locks you just on one trajectory. So you end up I ended up going left and right, saying, shit, what am I doing? But yeah, you can do spins, and you can do grabs. They are not as flashy and arcadey as Tricky, and there's no point really trying to compare this to Tricky, despite in my head there being a lot of similarities.
Well, I think any snowboarding game that came out post SSX Tricky that isn't trying to be SSX Tricky is pointless.
Yeah. I mean, I like, as I said, the atmosphere and the energy of that sort of getter jobber, extreme sports nonsense.
Baggy trousers.
Yeah. It's a good social experiment. I enjoy it, as in, like, if I was to wake up on, like, a Sunday morning and be able to turn on, the Extreme Sports channel whilst it's on in the background, whilst I'm hungover or something like that. It's nice. It's nice like that, and it plays okay if you want to do simple things. But if you want to really, really get into it, it's very unforgiving. And like I say, like if you do that body jumping bodysuit thing, you will die a lot. And the deaths that you will have will be gruesome and horrible, because you will literally be jumping off a mountain and probably just sort of catching your face on a jaggy outcrop as you scrape down and die.
Wingsuit. Is it called a wingsuit?
Yeah, whatever. It's the flying squirrel sort of thing. Yeah, wingsuit.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking
Super
about.
Mario squirrel suit.
Yeah, he's got a tail, and you just have to press A to waggle it in order to keep flying. It's really realistic. Captures that whole energy of extreme sports.
It takes like 30 minutes to walk to the top of the mountain. You jump up and you just have to mash A as hard as possible, just slowly float down to the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah. And then ultimately stomp on a Goomba. There's nothing much more to say. It was fun to play. I definitely would rather be playing SSX Tricky. I think that's the bottom line there. But I think I'll go back to it and maybe try not doing snowboarding all the time. Maybe try the skiing or something like that.
Are there skidoos?
Skidoos, as in the propelled ski mobiles.
Yeah, like the jet ski but for snow.
I don't think so.
Oh, that was a great game.
What was?
Just had flashbacks to. There's a game on the PlayStation 3. It's PlayStation 1, sorry. It was 4-player couch co-op. Oh my god, it was fantastic. And you're on skidoos.
Surely that's an easy Google.
You'd think, right? Apparently there were quite a few skidoo games. Sledstorm? Maybe it was Sledstorm.
Snowmoto? Fucking hell, why is there so many?
No. Skidoo Challenge. Skidoo Snow X Racing.
Did the PlayStation? I can't believe there's so many Skidoo games.
I know. The PlayStation was crazy. I think it was Sledstorm. If it is Sledstorm, that had a phenomenal co-op mode. That was a good racing game.
Okay, I will take your word for it. But there we go.
And it had Rob Zombie on the soundtrack, I think.
Really? Mental.
Yeah. Wow. Who knew we could fill a podcast with snow-based games? We should have just fucked off talking about Uncharted and Tomb Raider and Resident Evil and just gone into snow-based games.
Yeah, I reckon there's still room for way more as well. Although, I mean, we did that flame rounds a little while ago. I don't like ice levels. Everything's too slidey. You know?
But snow levels are different to ice levels, and you know it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It's more
snow levels you get, and you also get like Christmas music more in snow levels than you do in ice levels.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shall I tell you what a good snow game is?
Tell me. The
snowball fight on Wii Fit.
The snowball fight on Wii Fit.
The snowball fight.
Oh, yeah, I know. Where you sort of duck behind and then you. Yeah, that was good. Was that Wii Fit?
Yeah. And you throw the. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wii Fit.
Was that Wii Sports?
No, it's Wii Fit because. You know when you kind of set your daily routines. And for a while, I was like, I set my daily routines.
Yes.
And then I'd choose snowball fight. football heading, like all the easy. This is more of a game than an exercise game.
Yes.
It'd be like, all you have to do is you have to play 7,000 rounds of the snowball game, 2,000 hours of the football heading game, or you could just do like these 3 yoga ones. And yoga ones are pretty tough. Or do 7 push-ups. I'll take 4 hours of the snowball game, please.
See, man, like I like.
I know I can do that.
I liked Wii Sports an awful lot. Sorry. I got into it. I was like, I had the Wii pedometer on me all the time, and I was like into the the running, like where you run around the island. Man. Yeah, I dug that a lot until I fucked my ankle. I was like, who'd have thought that just running on the spot for like roughly 20 minutes a day would fuck your ankle over. But there you go. So, but yeah, I like the boxing one as well, with the sort of pseudo Cockney guy. Whoa, yeah, go for another round there. I don't know why I went Australian. I just ruined my.
The soundtrack is phenomenal. That song in particular. It's on the Smash soundtrack as well.
Is it? That's brilliant.
Yeah. It's aspirational stuff. I've got this is definitely another podcast, but all of the games based on Woohoo Island I absolutely love. Wii Sports Resort, the Wii Fits, and what's the other one? Pilot Wings. All based on that same island. It was like
Pilot Wings was based on that island
or something. It was fantastic. Yeah. The 3DS one, you fly around Woohoo Island.
I did not know that. So, what have you been playing?
A tiny minor update to the Mario Kart discussion that we had. Well, we found out that you are Billy Big Balls World Champion Mario Kart.
Yeah. All gold on 250cc. Yeah. Arcade champion.
Yeah. And leading the leaderboards on Mario Kart. So, I mentioned earlier I got back into it a little bit with the ambition of getting all the gold kart pieces, and I finally, one glorious day, smashed all the time trials, and I now have the gold wheels, the gold glider, the gold kart, and the gold Mario, none of which I will ever use again. But now I can start playing the game for fun.
So what does the gold kart, gold glider, gold everything say about your sexual preferences?
It says that you try really hard.
Is that it? Just try really hard.
And that's it. That's all I got. I've got nothing funny.
You get nothing funny. Yeah, there isn't really. You do anything for money?
Golden shower. You're into golden showers. There you go.
There you go. Perfect. Oh, well, there you go.
So now I can should I want, or should that be my fetish? I can advertise that to the many children who play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online.
Yeah, you could be a regular R. Kelly. Yeah. Yeah. Is that all?
That's just a mini update.
A mini update. Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm proud of my achievement.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good achievement to finally get there.
Yeah.
Good.
Finally? That's a bit judgy.
Yeah. Billy Big Balls. I've had gold cards since like day one, man.
Oh god. Yeah. You unlocked it using a dance mat. Is that to make it a bit of a challenge?
Yeah, I was using the Wii board actually.
As you the bongo drums from
From the
Kong.
Taiko game, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I was surprised at how long it took you, to be honest. I mean, it's like one of the first things you unlock when you play the game.
Listen, I know that allegedly your Wii U is broken. Next time, if we ever get to see each other again, we're definitely digging out your Wii U and having a look at exactly what you've supposedly achieved. Start working your excuses now. Oh, the SD card didn't work. Oh, my laptop broke.
I've got nothing to prove.
It was on Doppelganger's Wii U.
I might just delete it so that I've got more of a challenge.
Oh yeah,
do it all again from scratch.
Used to regularly do with the like used to do with the N64 one. Yeah.
Yep. I used to. It wasn't much of an issue. But yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's
yep.
That. What are you playing?
Okay, so the last there's one last one that I wanted to talk about, and again is
I'm
going
super judgy, just so you know.
Yeah. Oh no, you've had all your fucking super judginess. You spent that all on that World of Warcraft chat.
No, I've been saving it.
You fucking spent it all in that World of Warcraft chat. Like fucking.
No,
oh no.
That was me. I was actually being generous.
Smiting the rabbits. Oh, whatever. Motherfuck. Right. So yeah, another free game on the Epic Store, which I jumped into for the hell of it. Sludge Life.
Oh, finally.
Have you played it?
Finally, you got around to Sludge Life. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. What is it? What even is it? I've never heard of it.
Sludge Life is it's. I mean, I'm going to start off. It's not very good. It is a graffiti 'em up. I'm going to say it. So it's a first-person game. Nothing seems to kill you. Essentially all you need to do is find places to graffiti, which are marked by spray cans, and the whole puzzle is you might need to jump a little bit to get to that place, which allows you to do the graffiti. So there is a sort of parkour puzzle element to do the graffiti, but on top of it all, it's slightly weird and trippy. So it's not like you're sort of parkouring in like in a city or something like that. I think it's supposed to be like in a futuristic, Futurama, dystopian kind of world, and at the same time it's also retro, because the laptop you're using is using like a weird version of Windows 3.1, which
God.
I know.
Did it tell you Windows 3.1, or do you know the versions of Windows so well that you could identify it as Windows 3.1?
I identified it as Windows 3.1.
Oh, dude. That's worse than playing Rip Paladin.
But yeah, quite cool actually. You collect certain things and it creates icons in your desktop, Windows icons, but it also has like a VHS filter over it, which is obviously quite trendy and on trend at the moment, you know, with
yeah, definitely
sort of this 90s retro vaporware thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately it is, it's a graffiti parkour 'em up done in a retro 90s filter. It's all very weird. There's some weird characters in it as well, weird looking or weird, you know, like blue people or pink people, and yeah, that's it really. It's I don't think I'm going to return to it. I played it. It was as soon as I realised that all the game was just jump here, do that, get the spray can, spray paint a face or something like that. Then you move to the next puzzle. It's all open, sandboxy, but it's that's it. And I don't think it's going to go much further for me or in general. Do you know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, is it? Describe it. So is it like, you know, the graffiti sections in GTA?
Yeah.
Just that.
Like the tagging.
Yeah.
No.
Or is it a little bit more than that?
It's less than that. When you
God, okay.
When you tagged in GTA 3, you were doing that to like create gang warfare and things like that. For this, it is essentially collecting a star in Mario. You know, you had to do the puzzle. You've now got the star, so you've spray painted a little ghost face, and then you try and find your next star or ghost face collectible thing. It doesn't seem to give you anything much in return, short of you've managed to spray paint a face on the side of a building. That's it. There's no threat in the game.
Does that mean it's a walking simulator?
I'm tempted to say yes. Like it has a puzzle element, but it doesn't seem to really, like, if you were to choose an equivalent game to this, I would say probably something along the lines of Portal. It definitely has, you know, puzzle element and a danger of death and getting things just right. Whereas this is a bit more, it's a loosey-goosey version of Portal, where you can kind of go everywhere and anywhere and do this and interact with some weird people, but there's just no threat, there's no scare, there's no worry, there's just frustration. Similar to like if you haven't played Mario Odyssey, but like there are moons to get in Mario Odyssey, and it's usually just enter the level and then you do a little puzzle, like talk to a person, or you jump on this, or you try and find a thing to bounce off of so you can get high enough up to get the moon, and you get the moon and then you move on. It's kind of like that bit in Mario Odyssey. Sort of like the end game is you get to go around and collect these collectibles, but this is done in a sort of supposedly dark, sardonic 90s atmosphere, which I guess it's just done to death, really.
Done to death?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like I've seen it a million times already, you know? Like, there's so much of it happening at the moment. Like, you see all of these films and music videos which are taking the vaporware and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. All
these free games on Epic Game Store which you're downloading.
I know, and imagine
wasn't that the same? Wasn't that same with Gone Home as well?
Gone Home.
90s.
Well,
walking simulator.
No.
But like from a different dimension.
Yeah, it's definitely from a different dimension. I think the retro 90s is what I was saying was it didn't go deep enough into that retro 90s-ness.
Yeah.
All it had was some cassettes and some game cartridges and a ticket stub which says Pulp Fiction, which was supposed to be current. And like, I mean, that's not really enough, but yeah, that is what it is.
Who are these games for? It's weird, isn't it? Is this a recent game?
Sludge Life. I'm not sure when it came out.
Is it something that young people are keen to? Like, I wonder what the 90s was like. That's why. Or is it just that game developers of our age are now making games and that's all they know is stuff they liked in the 90s?
Yeah, it's like Probably just.
It seems weird for you mentioned VHS filters earlier. It's like, well, surely, people over the age of 15 would never have even touched a VHS, even older maybe.
Yeah. It's like, I suppose that you've hit the nail on the head. It is like, oh wait a minute, it seems like this is trendy. But it's only trendy because every other fucking game developer is, in their 30s going on 40s,
Yeah.
And
I don't know, maybe it's like time as represented in video games is on a faster course than real time. So, a lot of the horror games that we were playing, for example, are based around gramophones and oldie time radios.
Yep.
And in the short years in between, we're now up to the 90s. So in a few years' time, it will be about mini discs and
MP3 players.
MP3 players. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh god.
So, doesn't sound like you're going to be recommending Sludge Life.
No, it's not a very good game. I don't really want to spend. I know it's harsh, but I don't really want to spend more of my time when I have other games which already do the same sort of thing, and I don't play them. So fuck it. Like, I mean, Mario Odyssey is a great game, and it's got more mechanics in it, but it gives me the same feeling of just collecting a thing. Or I could go back and play blooming Mario 64, or play that crazy PC version of Mario 64 that everybody's banging on about. And yeah, no, I'm good. I'm done. I don't need that game in my life. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10 to anticipate your next question. 10. Yeah.
Thanks for your free game.
Yeah.
Take it back. I want a refund.
I can. If it's within 14 days, I can claim a refund.
Refund is free game.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's like, I definitely had more fun in Steep than I did in Sludge Life. But yeah, I mean, like, there's a fuck ton of these games that I have on Epic. And I don't know why I keep coming back to them. I think it's just because they're free games, and I don't get as many free games on Steam. But I'm just kind of like, oh, I've never heard of this, or I have heard of this, but never played it. Like shit that I've got free, like the Talos Principle. That's probably another exactly the same puzzle walk 'em up thing as like Portal or Sludge Life or whatever. Don't know it.
And then sometimes flitting between games like that it's like something that demo discs used to do. So we used to do a thing called the demo challenge, where
exactly
have a stack of demo discs from and you throw on a demo disc. Give each game a whiz until you die or hit the end of it, and that's kind of nice. And you can do that on almost every platform as well, by just downloading demos. I'm sure you could easily fill a hard drive with just downloading every demo that's available and then giving them a burn. And sometimes that's nice. It's like a little amuse-bouche, and you're not invested in it. You just I'll try that, pick that. But also it can be an opportunity to sometimes come across a game that you perhaps wouldn't have picked up if you just stuck to your usual preferences and where you get your news from. Oh, this game existed. Cool.
Okay. Well, did you have anything else you really wanted to sort of mention?
No, I'm saving it for next week.
Okay, cool. Well, then let's leave it there. We'll say goodbye and have fun, and catch us on the blog www.thatguys.co.uk, or on Twitter, or on Instagram
at that guy's a maniac.
Yep.
On Instagram
Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Maniac, I guess.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Is that all, stranger?